In 2025, we're all in a surplus of information and too tired to put the enormous amount of effort into our aim that we're used to. The age of some benchmark you hit up every day, spamming the same old scenarios is gone. Nowadays, what we all really want is aim that one is consistent. That means cutting down on playtime without any purpose. 2, aim that looks like we're aim training. That means collectively stop obsessing over scores and start obsessing over what direction you should be taking. And 3, no more hyper details like your thumb positioning being wrong. So what aim styles exist out there? We're gonna break it down and figure out trends in your aim. The reason my coaching does so well is because I correctly identify people's styles and attack their flaws. Let's make sure you aren't wasting your time with random scenarios, since it can be demotivating to play and get little to no effect. Lazy aim. This is a lack of visual confirmation in aim trainers caused by overestimating your skill level. We move our mouse and click as a habit rather than clicking when you're sure you're on target. There's no missing penalty in your aim trainer, which leads to incorrect patterns in your brain, showing it clicking without reason to be acceptable. We routinely show that it's okay to click because we moved our mouse and not because we're on target. This habitual practice then leads to over-reliance on your initial flick. Lazy aimers are often accompanied by slow micros, which leads us to guess where we should click rather than know, especially relevant in TAC FPS, since missing our initial shots leads to a longer adjustment period, coupled with recoil and movement that already messes up your aim. You fix this by consciously ensuring you're on target before clicking, or if the habit is really bad, by playing never miss or barred pill scenarios. These ensure the end of the scenarios if you miss, causing the same punishment signals to fire if you were to lose a gunfight in game. People may also try VBR scenarios. These incorporate slight changes in movement to ensure proper click confirmations. You as a lazy aimer may even play dynamic like it's cookie clicker, resulting in a lot of spam. This teaches our brain that it's okay to miss shots before reaching the target. Instead, you should look for consistency. We do this by tracking for a millisecond before clicking. A great playlist for this is my FAR 3.0, which covers all weaknesses talked about. 2, shaky aim is sadly very common. This is your quintessential Kovaaks aimer who hits scenarios above their skill level. It can't really handle it. A popular method of fixing this, and something I've used for great success, is stabilizing your wrist by pushing it down into the desk. Generally, these people just need to play something easier, but since some people learn from that difficulty, we can use something I developed called SYA. This forces an easier scenarios to be played before a more challenging one. We may also benefit from scenarios like SYW and centering 1. Playlists you may try out are Pure G Smooth, Tourier Reactive Conditioning, SYA Reactive. But some people also struggle with shaking inflex and not only your tracking. I want you to realize that this comes from an inability to handle speed. Your hand starts moving before your eyes have had the time to focus. By hyperfixating on an explosion of speed rather than the buildup of it, we're going back into the territory of simply throwing your crosshair out there without any reason. I want you to start moving your hand with a purpose. The way we do this is not by causing an explosion in your muscle fibers. Instead, we start moving with inertia. This is a decrease in speed at the start and the end of your flick. You can also think of it as trying to move your hand underwater as fast as possible. That force will hold you back. What we don't want to do is move our hand like we're trying to punch someone. 3, speedy aim is someone who moves fast but consistently misses larger targets. They're often inaccurate in target switching, but this aim style requires a bit more upkeep because of its many upsides. But it still follows the general rule of less difficulty and more focus on being able to hit basic targets fast. This person actually has benefit above all of you, since he's capable of correctly moving fast, albeit without any accuracy. If you're this person, I want you to ask yourself, how do I expect to hit something small if I can't even hit a larger target? Speed target switching and larger static are extra beneficial to this person, since he has a subconscious ability to correctly fully identified the location of the target, he simply doesn't know when to correctly stop and click. This person may hit scenarios like 1 while 6 targets TE, grid shot, larger target switching, and even precise but slow moving dynamic. So this person should just hit large scenarios and neglect accuracy? No. This is where SYA or conditioning really helps. You can take a pokeball scenario before a static one, a larger dynamic scenario then hitting a smaller one, or go the opposite approach and play a smaller scenario than a larger one. 4. Reflex style of aimers consistently click and flick at the same time. I want you to think of Hiko's door shot on Get Right. What happens is that we react and click when we see the enemy instead of doing it because we're on target. Not to be confused with lazy aim. This person distinctively relies on no micro adjustments but purely his initial flick, while a person with lazy aim may try to adjust but do so poorly or even spam. Easily the most popular aim style for Valorant players, this person may do great at times but really poorly when it's going bad due to the heavy reliance on those initial bullets. It's a very flashy aim style, and it's no wonder why we're subconsciously drawn to this. All it requires is hitting a lot of pokeball, reflex scenarios, pressure, and anything that generally forces him to move fast. He will greatly benefit from the playlist Static God or Reflexes and Punishment, as well as extra small scenarios that help fight his natural instincts to click and flick with one swoop motion. All the playlists mentioned can be found in my GitHub. Calm or cautious aim. Despite what you heard on YouTube, it's actually very undesirable. When these people are being pressured, your technique goes out the window. Calm aim is only relevant if things are in your favor. But in chaotic games, we want to practice for handling subconscious moments we aren't ready for. These people are often speed or reflex aimers who tried slowing down and felt a good in-game effect. Some people with different aim styles are consistently losing gunfights, so they're opting for something easy and simple you can consistently do. For people in this bracket, it's heavily crosshair placement reliant, minimal mouse movements, and a lot of movement aim in general. A lot of them opting for a slower game style which is consistent but probably won't break the scoreboard. See, cautious aimers do not push themselves in Kovaaks. Instead, opt for moving slowly and accurately. They consistently do not see any results in Aimtrainers due to the aim style not allowing them to push beyond a certain limit. Generally, I recommend going more towards speed because the results come from pushing ourselves, and often it means making your practice harder than your in-game equivalent, since in-game can be quite fast. So how do we know if we're moving at the correct pace? Try to think of a speed level you can consistently maintain and start going 1% faster, another 1% until you're uncomfortable. Slow that uncomfortable speed down by 1% and you got the correct speed. Important here is to realize we aren't going anywhere without pushing ourselves in our aim trainer. If you recognize yourself being overly slow or cautious, start pushing speed and play scenarios that force you to move faster, like Pumpkin Switch or Woot TS. But is it possible to have a mix of two styles? Yes. A common one I see is having speedy and lazy aim. Though different, some similarities can be found. But how you work on these styles are quite different, and I generally recommend trying everything out before judging it, since all information is irrelevant if something else is showing you results. Some info I found greatly beneficial is that there's no such thing as big, medium, or small. There's only speed or precision. If you have lazy aim, you have to make sure the target is as small or if not smaller than your targets in game. Otherwise, you're shooting yourself in the foot here. Your brain will do the exact same flick in Kovaaks and be rewarded, while in game it misses due to the size difference because lazy aimers are very habitual. Speed aimers should start by attacking anything larger than the head of the enemy. That would classify it as speed related and slowly condition to smaller targets. This is completely independent if the scenario says small or extra small. It's about the target size you'll face in game. Overall, that's the forecast for aim styles in 2025, and making sure that your aim grows healthily and relevant to you. Make sure to subscribe.